In a world of goblin drills and lava hounds and golem beatdown decks, is it possible to reach 8,000 trophies in Clash Royale with a mortar cycle deck? Hey guys, that's right here, and welcome back to another Clash Royale video. Now, Aaron has just pushed to top 30 in the entire world with a new version of Mortar Cycle. This guy is absolutely insane, and he's going to show you guys exactly how to dominate this upcoming meta with a new Mortar Cycle deck. Huge thanks to Aaron for sharing the replays today. Again, I'll leave a link to his YouTube channel down below. Please go ahead and show him some support. And without further ado, let's get back to the video. Alrighty, first off, we got a match here against a Lava Hound player. And if you play Mortar Cycle at all, you know that Lava Hound is a very, very bad match. And of course, Lava Hound comes down immediately as the very first play of the match. Of course, Aaron going to be rushing opposite lane with the Dark Prince. He has to force out some sort of response, and out comes the skeleton army. But the match is still far from over. Look at this. If Firecracker comes down immediately, the opponent's just going to arrow that out of the way. And guess what? The opponent has Snowball as well. So the Spear Goblins are going to get absolutely disintegrated as well with the Snowball. But Aaron does have one last resource, and that is the King's Tower. Getting a King's Tower activation and just barely going to hold on here is Aaron. Of course, he got an Inferno Dragon and a Bomber coming down, but of course, Dark Prince comes down, cycles to a second Firecracker, and now the opponent simply does not have a way to take that Firecracker down. His push is gone, and you know what? Aaron also has a Mortar on the counter push. The opponent, no ground counters in hand, and that is simply going to be Tower down. So the opponent just sacking the tower, immediately goes in with Lava Hound in the back, and Aaron responds in kind with a Dark Prince in the opposite lane. This immediately takes this tower down to below 2,500 HP, and in the case that Aaron loses his left tower, which is very, very likely, well, we've already gotten a 1,000 hit point lead on the right tower. Of course, Arrow destroys the Firecracker, and he's just gonna go ahead and sack this tower. There's no point in trying to protect it. His only counter is the Spear Goblins, which the Bomber would have disintegrated. And as you can see though, we do have the 1,000 HP lead as we head towards double elixir time. So Lava Hound comes down, and now we just have to use that Firecracker, take down those lava pups, and space your units out properly so the arrows can't hit everything like so. And look at this, Mortar still popping shots off on the tower. He nados to clear the lava pups, and of course, he's back to another Mortar, pulls that balloon away, and he doesn't even need anything else. The Spear Goblins just take down the balloon, Earthquake comes down, and all he's got to do is cycle one more Earthquake on the tower, and that's simply just game over. The opponent tries to go for the 3 crown here, but it's no use. Firecracker and Skeletons are going to do the remainder of the kiting work. One more Earthquake again is going to take down the tower, and Aaron taking the win against a Lava Hound matchup. Absolutely insane plays there, taking down the impossible matchup. Next up, we got a match here against Samuel Basoto, and he's going to be running the super popular King of Cycle decks, Goblin Drill Bomber Wallbreaker Cycle. This deck is everywhere on top ladder nowadays. Everyone's playing it, and of course, that's part of the reason why we have the Dark Prince in this deck. Of course, if you don't have the Dark Prince leveled up, Valkyrie is a perfectly good substitute because, well, you gotta have some way of taking care of that Goblin Drill. Anyways though, Aaron's starting off with a nice and easy Mortar lock here, and look at this, he also has a bit of a counter push here, which he tries to get a little bit of chip damage with the cheeky NATO. Doesn't work out quite in his favor, but as you can see, he still has the matchup simply because we have the Earthquake, which deals so much damage to the opponent's tower. And as long as you save the Dark Prince for the Goblin Drill, you're going to be doing just fine because the Goblin Drill is not going to get any damage whatsoever onto your arena tower. So as you can see, Aaron getting another Mortar lock onto the tower. Earthquake comes down as well to finish off the Tesla. You know, you're honestly not that pissed if your opponent goes in with a Tesla on your Mortar, because that just simply gives you another free 200 damage where you can just simply Earthquake onto all of that stuff. So here, Wall Breakers coming in. Of course, we cycle to the log and take those Wall Breakers out. In addition to having the Dark Prince in cycle for the Goblin Drill, it's also very useful to have the log in cycle for the Wall Breakers as well, as those will be your most consistent way of dealing with that push. Valkyrie comes down, but it gets pulled away out of range of the Mortar. Spear Goblins take down the Bomber, but unfortunately the Valkyrie just barely gets back in range here. And we're going to go ahead and use a firecracker to take down the Valkyrie. Of course, one wall breaker will connect. You really don't want to waste your log in a position like this. But double elixir time now, still a very, very comfortable 1000 hit point lead from Aaron like so. The opponent goes in with a push. Of course, you gotta go in with a mortar tank for this. Your only mini tank is the Dark Prince, and of course you have to save the Dark Prince for the Goblin Drill. No matter what, you have to save that Dark Prince. But of course, Samuel not going to let down whatsoever. Of course, mortar comes down once again. Dark Prince gets pre-placed for the Goblin Drill, which is a little bit unfortunate, but as you can see, if the Dark Prince is out of cycle, you can also log those goblins out, and the goblins will get destroyed. 17 seconds left, still an 1000 hit point lead on the opponent. Aaron just goes ahead, chills out with a defensive mortar. Of course, Dark Prince immediately down for the Goblin Drill, and then the mortar is just gonna simply destroy those two wall breakers. Log finishes everything off, and as we head towards overtime, just a very, very comfortable 1000 HP lead. And Aaron's pretty much just going to rinse and repeat this exact same defense while occasionally getting chip damage on the opponent's tower with mortars, with earthquakes, and with the firecracker. Tower now. Earthquake does so much damage for 3 elixir. Log is going to clear out most of these goblins in combination with a tornado, and then just cycling, I believe 2 earthquakes is going to be enough to do the trick. Of course, he's going to go ahead and defend this Goblin Drill first. Dark Prince down, and Log clears out those wall breakers. One last earthquake, one last Log, and that is simply game over. Absolutely tearing apart one of the most popular cycle decks in Clash Royale. So we've seen Lava Hound, we've seen Goblin Drill cycle. Well, what about a big, beefy Golem beatdown deck? Well, Aaron's got a replay against that too. We are facing UA Kev, who is running a very, very popular Golem Night Witch beatdown deck. Starting off immediately, Mortar comes in the opposite lane as soon as the opponent plays something, and the opponent's a little slow. Lumberjack comes down just a little too late, and immediately we get a Mortar lock on the tower. That'll get about 2 or 3 Mortar shots. Skeletons come down, prevent that Mega Minion from getting any damage. And look at that, immediately a 1000 HP lead, but the opponent immediately fires back with a Golem in the back, beginning to build up a push. So Firecracker comes down, play the Firecracker first so that you can cycle to a second Firecracker on defense. Mortar comes down, and it's very important that you protect this Firecracker with everything you've got. Dark Prince comes down, forces out a tornado so that the Firecracker dies. And look at this, he's got so much stuff coming out of the tower. How is he going to defend this? Well, he's going to cycle back to a tornado and activate his own King Tower to help with any future defenses. And look at this, Aaron's gonna come out with an activated King Tower, 600 damage behind. But at the end of the day, considering that big push that the opponent had almost directly on top of his arena tower, I mean, I'll definitely take that for sure. Double elixir time approaching, Golem in the back. Dark Prince comes immediately at the bridge and forces out a response from the opponent. Another great thing about having the Dark Prince is it applies some immediate quick pressure that the opponent has to respond to. And as we head towards double elixir time, Golem coming down the lane, Mortar in the defensive position. Of course, again, you want to protect this Firecracker, and look at that, a very high placed Dark Prince there forces out a Nado and a Zap to take this stuff out. Golem pops, and look at this, a Mortar that plays defense and offense at the exact same time, forces out a Bomber. It almost gets a hit onto the tower as well, but as you can see, we're pretty much tied in terms of damage. He's only about 200 HP behind, and 27 seconds left. Of course, you want to protect that Firecracker. Firecracker comes down, and look at this, Golem down as well. But just take a look at this Firecracker and how much value she is about to get. Look at this, okay? She dodges those bats. Got a big push coming down. No worries. She's just gonna knock herself back a little bit more with that little Firecracker shot. And yeah, look at this. Firecracker's still alive. Getting value, taking down the Golem. Nado? Huh, yeah, right. The Firecracker just bounces herself out of there, out of that Baby Dragon splash. And look at this. She's still alive, playing offense for this Mortar counter push. And look at this, another Firecracker comes down, but the Mortar locks onto the tower. and it just barely sneaks out one more additional hit. Tower's down to 1069. Nice, but what's more nice about that is that now the tower's down to 684, which is within spell cycle range. First earthquake comes down, and all we gotta do is cycle back to one more earthquake, and that is simply GG. Well played. Absolutely dismantling a big beatdown golem deck. So we've seen this motorcycle deck take down some of the more new meta decks that you might be facing. Let's see how this deck does against a classic P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam deck. Starting off here, Aaron does know the matchup. Of course, Fat Cat is one of the most famous P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam players in Clash Royale, and so he just immediately begins with the Earthquake Cycle. Of course, you might not do that, but in this matchup, you're going to be very aggressive with that Earthquake Cycle since, well, it's going to be your most consistent way of getting damage onto the tower. So the opponent's got a push coming in, and of course it's a big mama P.E.K.K.A. She gets distracted so easily. Spear Goblins get zapped out? No worries, we got Skeletons. Skeletons are going to distract the P.E.K.K.A. and look at this, of course we also have a Dark Prince. Dark Prince splashes out both the Bandit as well as that P.E.K.K.A. and with a very clean initial defense. P.E.K.K.A. in the back? Well, let's immediately pressure at the bridge. Spear Goblins come down, force out a battle ram from the opponent. He does not want that chip damage, and look at this, he's already about 500 damage ahead. Of course, Log comes down, gets chip damage as well onto the tower, and these barbarians are so easily taken care of with just a simple set of skeletons. Firecracker, of course, comes down as well. And look at this, he even tries to protect the Firecracker as well. He NATOs the Magic Archer, and look at this, the Firecracker is still alive. And it absolutely just decimates the opponent's P.E.K.K.A. push. The opponent literally just out of frustration zaps that Firecracker out of the way so she cannot get any more value. And of course, now Aaron just goes in with a Mortar on offense. Now, Dark Prince to protect, and of course this Battle Ram is very easily dealt with just a Firecracker and a Log. P.E.K.K.A., well, that's not as easy to deal with. But look at this Firecracker. She actually switches lanes back over to the P.E.K.K.A. And look at this. NATO, of course, going to pull that Magic Archer in. So Earthquake as well as the Mortar is going to take that Magic Archer off the arena. Now, 19 seconds left until overtime. Very comfortable 400 damage lead. Log comes down to get chip damage. And look at this, Spear Goblins get some chip as well on the tower, taking it down to below 2000 HP. Now, of course, we protect that Mortar, so the Battle Ram will spawn those Barbarians on top. Firecracker, of course, gets fireballed out, but again, just Earthquake Cycle on the tower, taking it down to 1661. And what can the opponent do? Absolutely nothing. Look at this. He just goes in with a defensive Mortar. Of course, Magic Archer comes down, immediately NATO that into the P.E.K.K.A., so a Mortar shot will destroy the Magic Archer. On the other side of the arena, Dark Prince taking care of the Battle Ram and the Bandit. A Fireball misses that Firecracker, and immediately we punish that with an Earthquake on the tower. Now the tower's down to 1231, and the opponent simply cannot break through our defenses. Rinsing and repeating last minute of this match. Magic Archer comes down. Of course, we're gonna NATO that Magic Archer out of the way, comboing that with a Log, and that Magic Archer is about to die. Of course, Firecracker is very good at that. Firecracker, as you can see, takes down that Magic Archer, and all we gotta do is just kite that P.E.K.K.A. all around the arena. Zap, well, we got 2 Zap bait cards in the Skeletons and the Spear Goblins. Nothing to worry about. 52 seconds left. Of course, Firecracker comes down immediately to get chip damage on the tower. And look at this, he NATOs those troops in. Firecracker gets a second shot. Tower's down to 395. All we have to do is place one more Earthquake, and I think maybe one other spell, but that will be more than enough to finish off the match. Absolutely dominating a P.E.K.K.A. Bridge Spam matchup. So there we go, a few matches that showcased Aaron's journey to 8,000 trophies with Mortar Cycle in Clash Royale. Again, huge shout out to Aaron. Please go ahead and check his channel out. I'll link it down in the description. But unfortunately, guys, that's all I've got time for in today's episode. Huge thanks to all of my channel members. You guys are the absolute G's. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like down below, as well as a subscription to my channel. And as always, this is Legend Array, and I'm signing off. See you guys next time.